Ukraine's hope for NATO status as protection dimming after U.S. comments. This is a new wrinkle. This, I think, a very fast. This just shows the complexity of how nation states must involve themselves in the lives of other nation states. In the case of the United States of America, they really don't want the NATO. Well, they don't want to take on the financial and military responsibility of having Ukraine become part of NATO, because once they're part of NATO, then all NATO members are compelled to defend Ukraine. They're not necessarily wanting to have to commit to defending Ukraine should Russia decide that they've had enough. But at the same hand, they also want to keep messing with Russia, and no fault within the nation-state parameters. No fault on them. I'm not judging anybody in this case. I judge all nation-state parameters in general, but I mean, there's very rarely you see nation-states that are acting in any degree righteously. If you want to go through Romans 13 and tell me which nation-state is measuring up to those standards, I'm going to tell you there's none out there. If there is one, it must be one of these small little microstates somewhere. So Ukraine is being told by the United States, maybe not so much. This is from voanews.com. U.S. won't commit to NATO membership for Ukraine. The United States reaffirmed its commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity Tuesday. See, yeah, that's their ability to be able to get their influence, their people, to be able to capitalize off of Ukrainian resources and empires, especially now that the United States is becoming more of an empire than a republic with empire possessions. We were kind of like the Roman Republic right before. I've always said this for a long while I've been saying this, that we're kind of like the Roman Republic right before, well, really right before Julius Caesar. And we had, well, if you know Roman history, you know about the Gracchi brothers, and both of them ended up getting killed, and both of them essentially were promising land reform. They were promising to give the soldiers the land that they were promised. And then Marius really undid it when he just opened up the military to everyone, and they started to form their allegiance around generals rather than the republic itself. It's kind of like what's happened here in America, where people are allied far more to their parties than they are to the United States of America itself. And then the problem is that Rome had all kinds of opportunities to expand and create empire and to bring into its cannibalistic system resources from its victims, and that's what the United States plans on doing here, and the Ukraine is a big part of that, but they don't want to commit all the way, and you can kind of understand. You see this from Meduza.io. The Kremlin's calculations have changed. Russia is building up troops near the border with Ukraine. We ask experts if full-scale war is inevitable. Let's see what they say here real quick. And let's say, from a military point of view, the situation is characterized as another surge in tension. There's still a chance that this problem can be resolved through negotiation, but there's little hope for this, unfortunately. So, okay, it looks like Russia can't abandon Donbass. It cannot. Like I said before, Russia cannot let this go. Russia cannot allow the West to have a strong influence in the Ukraine, because it remembers the Crimean War, and it is not going to cede the Crimea. If it loses the Crimea, it loses access to so much wealth and resources right up here in the Black Sea, whatever seas they are. So it can't afford to do that. So, but remember, there's nuclear weapons. So this is going to be a proxy. If it is a war, it's going to be a proxy war. It's not going to be United States troops fighting. It'll be Ukrainians being supported by the West and Russians that will maybe fight directly. But I think the Russians are going to probably want to use Russian Ukrainians as opposed to Russian military at some point. Russian military will serve in support system, but I don't think that they'll want, as much as possible, they will not want to fight Ukrainians directly. These superpowers, such as they are, they prefer to fight proxy wars. Let other nation states die with their sons rather than in their own, because it's bad. It's bad when your sons die in a war in general. It hurts the cause. I mean, you'll do it if you have to, but if you can fight proxy wars, you'd much rather do that. So that's the situation in Ukraine, and we'll keep you posted as there are more changes.